When you're doing that, are you purposely therefore looking directly at it, making yourself watch it directly?
No, and they weren't like, holding my head trying to make me. Yeah, there was an instance this is maybe a month or two after I had gotten out. I think I told you this off camera.
You told the story.
Yeah. I don't know if I said it on camera.
Was that in the Patreon episode? You might have told that one in the Patreon episode. You listen to this one, Brian. Did he tell a story about being in a bar where there was a fight that broke out? I think that was in the Patreon episode, so you can tell that one now.
Okay, so the one I'm thinking of is I'm sitting at the bar. The door is behind me. I can't even see the door to come in. And there's somebody sitting here next to me who I'm talking to, and then there's the well. And I'm sitting there talking to this. It was a female, and all of a sudden, this older lady walks by, and she just interrupts our conversation, and she goes, "Wow, you are looking fucking fine tonight," to me in front of this girl, and this girl just buries her head in her hands, like just embarrassed. And
Mom.
Yeah, that was mom. Yeah, right. And so we're sitting there talking, and she's all embarrassed. And all of a sudden, the guy standing in the well is looking at the front door, and his face just goes this look of fear on his face.
Let's go.
I'm like, what is going on? So I turn around, and over my shoulder, there's this guy standing there raising up the front of his tracksuit and pulling a Glock out of his pants. And they're screaming at each other like, you're not going to do me like that. And, here's
You're
what's
like, I'll take another. Yeah. I'm here for this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, it's about to be the OK Corral between these two guys standing right over here. So the first thing I think is this guy, he's pulling it out of his waistband in this way. He's right-handed.
Not a good place for your gun.
Yeah, he's going to ascend around early, and it's going to shoot me in the ass because he's, like coming around this way. I don't want that. And so this girl's freaking out. I grab her. I put her behind me. I go up against the wall, and we're trying to do like the walk like an Egyptian pose to get out of the bar. And as soon as we get out, she's like, "Oh my gosh, my cousin's still in there. You can't leave her in there." I was like, "Who the fuck is your cousin?"
Yeah. Who are you?
And she's like, describes, her physically to me. And I go back in, and both of the guys look at me coming back in. And I gave like a quick, I don't know why. I just went like that for a second. And you should have seen the look on this dude's face. He's like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" And luckily she was right in the door. I just grabbed her and, left. And it ended up that guy, one of the two guys, he got shot to death that night.
That same night.
After I left, yeah. So
you know how to pick them.
Right. Yeah, I think it's an energy thing, and
thing.
It can pull you to it. If you're not watching out for it, the brain, it's a crazy thing.
So that was subconscious rather than conscious.
That's my opinion of it. Yeah, is that I subconsciously put myself in a situation that I was more familiar with, but not necessarily should have been in.
How did you deal with the loneliness you were talking about while you were still in? Like late at night, sitting alone in the room yourself, you're living this crazy life. Everyone you're lying to. You can't talk to your real family. You can't talk to your real friends. You're in the middle of something that is bigger than yourself, but it is your life ticking away right here in the years that you're building up doing this. How, psychologically, how do you deal with that?
I just leaned into it more. If I was lonely, I spent more time with the people that I was supposed to be developing. Those relationships had a fulfilling angle to them as well. And so to me, if I was like, man, what should I be doing right now? I feel lonely. Well, go back to work.
Mm. Now, you told the story last time about the wildest situation, the worst situation you were in, which was, taken to some warehouse.
Yeah.
And there was, it's horrible, but
a
bunch of cartel guys around a little kid
yeah,
taking a carrot peeler to his face for 10 minutes while his dad's sitting there watching because his dad had stolen money or something and they wanted to punish him.
That was a money issue.
Yeah, you told the story last time about how you have to stand there and watch this. Like, where in the timeline was that? Was that shortly after you were now sucked in after turning the banker?
This was even earlier than that, towards like the whole cash smuggler timeline. That's because they're vetting. That was part of them vetting me, like seeing who I was and stuff like that. That's one of the reasons that leaving that as quickly as possible and going over to the I'm your guy over in Switzerland doing the banking thing. Like, keep me the fuck away from all of that. I was running away from that into how fast can I make that transition. But yeah, that was part of, them trying to vet if I was the type of person that they could do business with.
When you're doing that, are you purposely therefore looking directly at it, making yourself watch it directly?
No, and they weren't like, holding my head trying to make me. What I'm trying to do in that instance is respond like I'm normal, but not a problem for them, right? And so you got a million things going through your head at a time like that. But if you're focusing on doing the work, right, working your way through it, it's almost a way to not experience it as viscerally. You're focused on the job.
Are you, I don't know, like how, because you've been in character for years at this point when we're talking about that, so you're used to that, but that's such an extreme situation in all the worst ways.
Yeah.
How much are you, this is a weird question, but how much are you purposely aware of your facial expressions when that's happening versus being on autopilot of like, all right, exactly what you just said. I don't want to act like I like it. I don't want to act like I'm overpaying attention, but I also don't want to act like I'm going to be a problem. Like what are the thoughts that are going through your head? Because I can imagine that's the longest 10 minutes of your life.
Yeah. So I'll steer back to the method acting thing. I was so in the persona that I was that you trust it, right? So you trust the cover, you trust your persona, you trust what you've built. So it'd be like, a method actor that's been on a project for a very long time. If you would have taken them to a situation that didn't have to do with the movie and shown them something, their facial reaction might be completely different than a year before that, before they started the project. And so I'm just trusting that what I and a lot of smart people put time into building was going to look right, and just completely trust falling into that.
Sound about right?
My situations were totally different.
Yeah, I don't envy that. I think about that one a lot because I can see you felt that big time.
Yeah.
But you have a job to do, which is just like crazy. Thank you guys for checking out this clip. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit the like button on this video. It is a huge, huge help. And if you'd like to check out this clip's full podcast episode, that link is in the description below or right here. And finally, you can follow me on Instagram and X by using the links in my description below.